This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. My name is Herb White. I'm editor-in-chief at the Charlotte Post. This is Cameron Williams, staff reporter at the Post. It is Thursday, February 19, 2026.
And it's hot outside.
Yeah, that's the weather in Charlotte every day.
It's snowing 3 weeks ago and almost 70. Well, it's going to be 70 today.
Yeah, well, around here, you
You
can get all four seasons in one day. So.
And not the hotel.
Well, yeah, that too. All right, so we're going to talk about sports. And the All-Star break is in the rear view. Back to playing games that actually mean something now, especially the Charlotte Hornets. And they play the Houston Rockets tonight at Spectrum Center. It's allegedly the second half of the season, although there's only 27 games left. So, even my math tells me you're more than halfway through. What are the expectations?
I saw a projection yesterday. It said the Hornets had a projected win total of about 42.3. And I'm like, wow. So, obviously, odds makers and prognostication nears say this team could win about 20 more games, which if you've only got 27, that's 20-7. But as you and I were talking about just before we started, they don't exactly start off with a couple of cupcakes with the Rockets and then Cleveland tomorrow. And another thing you have to factor in with these next three games, no Miles Bridges or Diabate, still serving their 4-game suspension. And the All-Star game doesn't count.
No, because they weren't playing anyway.
But even so, it wouldn't have counted. I think these two games on the back-to-back, and see another thing with Melo is they try to manage his, whatever they call load management on back-to-back, so we might not see him even start tonight. There's a chance we've seen that before where he don't start one game of a back-to-back, or he'll start the first game and not start the second game of a back-to-back and come off the bench. I hope they don't do that. I hope by now Charles Lee's realized they're best when he starts and plays his normal minutes rotation, but you know how pro athletes are these days.
Yes, I do.
So out of these next three, what's going to be their record?
Let's see.
Houston, Cleveland, and Washington.
Houston has a sizable lineup that they love to throw out there. So rebounding will be an issue, I would imagine. Cleveland is a fairly dynamic team with some good sides as well. Washington is Washington. 1-2.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I was thinking the same, but obviously hoping that they can pull one of the two games out against either Houston or Cleveland. And based on the way they've been playing their last, 11 or 12 games, there's nothing that says they can't. Because Houston's a very up and down team. It's like they'll compete with some of the top teams in the league, but then they'll struggle.
Lose to the Hornets?
Don't do that. The Hornets are not in that conversation anymore. The Hornets are a fairly decent team. We're not putting the Hornets down there with the bottom of the pack anymore. Although they need to beat Indiana on the 26th to prove that
they don't belong there. But
again, I think 1-2 is probably likely. But I think if the complimentary guys can rebound at a high level, I think they could probably sneak one out, and it would probably need to be against Houston. Cleveland, they're good. And I think Donovan Mitchell is going to have a heyday like he normally does, but just looking really through the rest of the month, Chicago, Indiana, and Portland are all beatable. And it'll be interesting to see when Kobe White comes back, if he's ready to go or if he needs a couple more games to rehab the injury or whatever. But if he's able to go, I like their chances even more so, because I think he's a guy that can come in and average 17 to 19 points a game, even coming off the bench.
Well, the scoring will be appreciated with his return.
I know you don't like his defense.
His defense is a little sketchy. And
well, so is LaMelo's.
Yeah, but you have ways of kind of hiding his weaknesses. Plus, he's like, what, 6'6", 6'7"? So at least he's a bigger chicane when it comes to navigating on defense.
Yeah.
So, and you have to give him some credit, too. He's acting like he's at least somewhat willing to try defense. I'm not so sure Kobe White has even thought about that yet.
Yeah.
But
it'll be interesting, too, to see how LaMelo looks tonight, because if y'all hadn't seen the news, he was in a little bit of a bump up as he was leaving practice yesterday. Reports said that he didn't really sustain serious injuries at all, so hopefully he's able to go. We'll see what happens with him, but he was a part of a little bit of a car accident.
Yeah, as somebody who's been in more than a fair share of these things, even a fender bender kind of ruins your day.
Yeah, yeah.
But you still have to go out there and do your job.
That's because we have the monetary worry about car accidents too. This man jumped in a Lamborghini after he just wrecked his big old Hummer or whatever it was.
Well, I guess it helps to have a backup.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, and maybe he'll just donate his semi-crashed vehicle to a charity or something and roll out his next one. But he has that kind of money.
He does. But to wrap the Hornets talk, what do you think they need to do in the last 27 to solidify a playoff spot?
What they've done in the last 12. Play some defense, be complimentary, and let your best players do the cooking. So that means Con Knueppel, LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get Miles Bridges and Diabate back in there, that's your group. That's your ride or die five.
We're going to need to see more from Bridges. He's had games this year where, yes, he'll pop, and there have been some games in the absence of Miller or Ball where he has to carry a lot of the load, but when all three of, well, four, I guess you can call them the big four now, Miller, Ball, Con, and Bridges are out there, sometimes he just kind of gets lost. Because, well, obviously Con, he's a sniper. He's going to shoot the open threes, but it doesn't look like, at least to me, that LaMelo's looking to pass it to Bridges as often. And I don't know if that's just an odd perception that I have or what, but it just doesn't look like he gets in the flow of the offense as it was before they drafted Miller.
Yeah, look at it this way. There's only one ball. I'm not talking about LaMelo. There's one basketball. And so understanding the numbers and how it plays out, there's going to be a pecking order because LaMelo is going to do your ball handling for the most part. Brandon Miller is going to be your off guard. Con Knueppel is going to be in that mix. And so you may have to be okay with option 4. And I don't think Miles Bridges is really feeling bad about that. He will be there if needed, when needed. And unlike Diabate, any offense you get out of him is a bonus. Having Miles Bridges in that mix as your, well, he's our break glass in case of emergency guy. And I think that's a luxury to have somebody like him on the floor where those three main guys are going to be fine. But if you need somebody who can step in, do the dirty work, do the little things, and still break out for 20 if you need it, man, there are a bunch of teams in the NBA that would love to have that situation.
The only thing I worry, though, is it's noticeable to me that when he's not constantly in the flow of the game, his shooting numbers, they suffer. He doesn't shoot it as sharp from 3 if he's not getting as many looks. And maybe that's just a numbers thing where, I mean, if you're not shooting 11 times a game, only making 2 out of 5 is different than, going 4 of 11 or whatever. But it looks like he struggles a bit to get back in the flow of the offense if they're not trying to get him the ball.
Well, and maybe he is the kind who needs to get warmed up a little bit. before he can really go off. But still, if that's the trade-off, you take that trade.
Yeah, no doubt. I won't say I think they're going to lose tonight, but they're going to cover the 4.5 point spread. Concanipple is going to be the game high scorer. You're going to have 27. Durant is going to go under his point total. And Sengun's going to go over his rebound total. There's your picks, props, parlays, prognostication of the day. Put it in on DraftKings and get your money. But they don't sponsor us, so I'm not going to pitch them anymore.
Yes, that's a good idea in terms of the commerce part of this programming.
We need to find a sports book that would partner with us, because I tell you what, as many parlays as I put together, and there's been a couple good winners, they should give us some money.
Well, we'll see about that. But we still have the duty in terms of talking about what's going on in Charlotte. It's also the start of Major League Soccer season this weekend. From the soccer snob, Mr. EPL himself, the Crown is traveling to St. Louis to play St. Louis City. And it's year 5 for Charlotte FC. They're coming off their best regular season in team history. Most points, best seeding. They finished 4th in the East and have yet to break through and win a playoff series. So my question then becomes, what's the expectation for this crew this season?
I think you've seen the step ladder so far. It's make the playoffs. It's be competitive in the playoffs. It's time to win. To me, it's that simple. They signed Topamate. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Topamate, yeah.
To a long-term deal now. Zaha's back. Kerwin Vargas. So I think you need the front line. To me, is set. Obviously, they've got their keeper of the year 2 seasons ago back. So I don't
is back.
I don't think there's any glaring weaknesses anymore. So now it's just a matter of playing together and stacking wins. And I think they can do it. I think they've got a talented and jovial enough roster. Now they've got some veteran pieces too, but they've got some younger guys. And it's odd to say this, but Zaha's kind of over the hump as far as soccer prime age.
Yeah, he's past 30.
But I think you can compete in the MLS. I'll leave my snobbery at the door. But I'm just saying, a guy like him who played at Crystal Palace, he's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can be past 30 and still make stuff happen. Well, there's that dude down in Miami who's doing pretty good, and he's pushing what, 65?
He's also the GOAT.
Well, that's a different argument, but he's certainly MLS's GOAT.
Don't come out here with this Pele stuff.
I will leave that
Lionel Messi.
I will leave that to the history folks.
And then whoever wants to say Ronaldo, get out of here.
Anyway, so your expectation would be for Charlotte to finish where in the East?
No worse than 3rd.
Really?
Yeah.
3rd, huh?
No worse than 3rd. I mean, it's going to be competitive, especially in the top 5, but I think 3rd is obtainable. And it's all going to be, too, if they can keep a clean bill of health, because we've seen with other Charlotte teams, if you don't have a clean bill of health, then it does become very hard to win. And soccer is one of those sports, too, where it's an endurance sport, and if you don't have your best guys available, some of the guys, I mean, yes, of course, they're conditioning and practicing all year and stuff like that, but there's nothing like game reps.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Well, to me, a lot of this, it may not necessarily come down to an individual player, but the thing that is most intriguing to me is Zaha's availability this year.
yes.
He's basically on a half-season deal with Charlotte FC. Nobody knows will he or won't he, or will the club be interested in signing him to an extension? And he had a good first season. He was second in goals on the team with 10. Drew a lot of attention from opponents, especially after Pep Biel suffered some injuries midway through the season and late into the season. I think they really need him in order to get to where they really want to go. But if he's not going to be here after for the second half, the really important part for the playoff seeding part, as well as the postseason, to me, that is a major whodunit in terms of will he come to an agreement with the club, and the other side of that is, will the club really be that interested in keeping him along? Because like you said, he is past 30, and in sports, we all know it's a young person's game. Folks are starting to look for that young, up-and-coming person who will fill that gap. But I think that there is something to be said for veteran leadership. And Zaha has said, regardless of my contract situation, whoever I'm playing with, I'm playing for them. I'm going to give them 100%. Of course, everybody says that, but not everybody means that, or ultimately it may come down to, it's weighing on an individual and they may not necessarily have their heart in it. The body might be willing, but the heart says, never mind. Let's go to the next thing. But
where do you see? Well, go ahead.
But last month he talked about his situation, and he said that hopefully they will get something done in the run-up to the season, which is here. And what that looks like, it could be imminent. It could take forever. And if it takes forever, he's going to be out of contract. And then it's like on to someplace else.
My question was going to be, where? I mean, you kind of seemed surprised when I said third, or they're no worse than third. Obviously, Miami is going to be one of the favorites and the front runners. But where do you see Charlotte finishing in the East?
I would say, well, everybody improves year to year, except for teams that are just bottom feeders and are content to stay there.
Kansas City.
Well, not necessarily, but anyway, in the East, if you're talking about New York is going to be there, New York City is going to be there, Philadelphia is going to be there, Miami's Miami as long as they have Messi and that group down there. So I could see Charlotte repeating as fourth, and I think they are going to be competitive enough to possibly take third. And then the question becomes, regardless of where you finish, if you get into the playoffs, when are you going to win a series?
Hopefully it's this year. Man, I was so excited last year going to the playoff series and that first game, and it was just a dud. That was I'll tell you this. As the soccer snob that you claim I am, that game was not a good game for me to go to because it solidified my argument. That game was so boring. The run that it seemed like every run Charlotte FC would go on, there was just no offensive flow and no real threat at goal. It was just bad.
You're not going to get an argument out of me over that. I mean, and I think that Dean Smith, the coach at Charlotte FC, would agree that it was not a good look.
Yeah.
And he was a little peeved at MLS for scheduling games at the most inopportune time for his club. Not that
excuse.
Well, yeah, because it wasn't like NYCFC wasn't participating as well, and they had to hit the road. So I don't necessarily agree with that. But I think the other question, if they can get into the playoffs, and even if they don't get into the playoffs, that would, if they have a failure of some sort in 2026, with David Tepper, keep in mind, he owns the franchise, would he want to interject and say, you know what? There's too much investment in this not to be able to get over the playoff hump and decide to make some changes.
It could be. And I mean, I this is just complete and total craziness, but Tottenham did fire their manager.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. I mean, I know a lot of Tottenham fans, they weren't very fond of that manager, so bring it. But again,
people love Dean Smith here.
Yeah, but eventually, it's like trying to think of a good analogy. I can't really think of one. At some point, you have to break through and win a playoff series.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep getting there and getting there and getting there, but that means nothing.
Well, here's a local parallel of sorts. James Borrego got to the play-in a couple of times and got the heave-ho because of lack of performance in that particular round of the postseason. And I thought that was terribly, terribly bad timing and poor decision-making by the Hornets to put out a coach who actually made you relevant. And yeah, he blew it in a couple of playoffs. But it wasn't like he didn't get you there. He gave you winning records and all the other stuff.
So you're saying if Dean Smith continues to get to the first round of the playoffs and then completely botch it, you still want him around?
No, I'm just saying, well, how much runway would he get?
Well, you made the playoffs twice now. I know in the first year making the playoffs, they weren't necessarily favored against Orlando. Yeah, Orlando. But odds makers actually said it was a pretty 50-50 split against New York this past year.
And they won one game, which was okay, I guess. But you
you
still lose the series.
You still have two on your home field.
And lost
both of them.
Yeah.
That can't happen.
Yeah. And again, because of who the owner is, I would think that, he's got some expectations. And especially since his NFL team finally made a playoff, it's like, hey, I'm on a roll. I want to be able to get a win out of something around here. And you can make the argument that the soccer team is further ahead than the football team in terms of the progress. So would that be something where if they fail to get out of the first round or fail to make the playoffs, period, would David Tepper start looking around, figuring I can make an upgrade and get my team where I need it to go?
Possibly. I mean, we've known him to do crazier things.
Well, more impulsive, no doubt. And he's done it with Charlotte FC.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, I mean, because he changed coaches lickety-split until he landed on Dean Smith. And so maybe, but I guess it all depends on how it plays out. And since we haven't even played the first game yet, it's all conjecture.
But that's what preseason prognostication is. They don't call me quadruple P for nothing. You still call me.
They sure don't.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I have earned that back tenfold. Anywho, as we bring this one to a close, what are we looking forward to? We haven't done this in a while. What are we looking forward to in the coming months? Because it is springtime. For those folks that suffer from seasonal depression, it is over.
Well, it's not quite over yet. We're going to drop back down into the 40s and 50s next week.
And there he goes.
Allegedly.
There he goes.
But fear not, because once we get to March, it will start warming up. But what I'm looking forward to is actually this weekend. The regular season finale in the CIAA is on Saturday. Johnson C. Smith will take on Claflin. The Golden Bulls have not had a very good season in preparation to the run-up to the tournament. And I guess senior day is always a good time to connect with the folks who are leaving. Their eligibility is up, moving on to other things, and perhaps give themselves a little bit of momentum as they turn their attentions to Baltimore.
Fair enough. Mine's a two-parter. As we move into March, you know me, my absolute favorite sporting event is right around the corner.
Golf? related?
No. Well, no.
Oh, the ACC tournament.
March Madness. Well, I mean, yes, the ACC tournament into March Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Covered the ACC tournament, and who knows? If I catch a wild hair, I may travel. I think it's in Greensboro this year. I may do that. I don't know, but we'll see. Depends on who's there. But yes, March Madness, the ACC tournament, covering it here in Charlotte's always fun. They have a real good setup, and they respect print media. They put us on press row. It is gorgeous.
Yeah, because
oftentimes they don't.
Yeah, things are different these days.
Oftentimes they don't, but it is, at least the ACC still puts respected, accredited, and long-standing print media on press row.
How antiquated.
It is glorious. It truly is. But yes, that, but also the start of spring football.
Mm-hmm.
I know John C. Smith's going to be kicking back up, and they're going to have repeat CIAA title hopes, and hopefully win stepping stone in the Division II playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that Frostburg game, that still haunts me.
I
had them.
They were happy to just be there.
You can't do that. You know it as good as that. You can't do that.
But mentally, you are.
You can't do that. Anyway, but also the start of Tim Albin's second season at Charlotte. We've had some conversations via text. He would prefer to be off the record, but I'm excited for his excitement. He's ready to go. I think the question is always going to be, who's going to be the quarterback? Because you had Connor Harrell last year. Mm-hmm. He starts to kind of find his rhythm, has a couple good games in a row before getting hurt.
Yep.
The ACL thing, I kind of know, but to be determined on when his recovery time is going to be officially set for. Cole Gonzalez, another quarterback, and Zayden White. I believe it's Jaden White. I'd have to look at the roster, but they have a freshman who could be competing for a starting spot, but at the end of the day, starting freshman is not very ideal. But this kid can sling it, so we'll see. And then Grayson Loftus is also still there, so quarterback room's deep. But there were just a lot of issues with the 49ers last year, and Albin, he doesn't sugarcoat things. When we talked after the season, which is on the Charlotte Post YouTube channel, you can go check out the full 25-minute interview. He talked about it. He just the consistency wasn't there. That's one thing they're going to be looking to build upon, and ultimately just getting guys in there that are ready to play at that level of football.
It's a good idea
because obviously the fundraising numbers were up as of December, so hopefully they were able to put together a roster in the transfer portal that's going to be competitive. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that unfolds and cover it every step of the way. And at least in the springtime, it's not so hot, because when they start fall camp in August, man, I going out there, I'm just like, I need one of them little hat fans. It's warm in August, buddy. Standing on that turf with them black pellets just beating the sun right back up on you. I can't imagine them players. They're over there by the water jug.
They're young. They can handle that.
I'm young, but it's hot.
So as we close out, I'm sure you will be more than happy to handle the honors of taking us to where we need to go to encourage folks to contribute.
Oh, well, yes, the charlottepost.com, thecharlottepost.com. I'm not sure if that weird domain's going yet, but make sure to type in thecharlottepost.com. Up at the top, you will see event calendar, subscribe, and donate. We're heavy on those latter two. But more specifically, subscribe so you can get the post in your hands. If you're old-fashioned like myself, want a hard copy of the paper to get your news weekly, every Thursday in hand, but also the e-edition if you're on the go. Swipe it on your phone, on your computer at work. You can get it all those platforms. Subscribe, but also donate. If you like our reporting, chip in. Because while the reporting you access online is free, it's not free for us to do it. So we would appreciate you do that. Also, subscribe to our sports newsletter. It comes out every Thursday, which is today, which is ironic because we've been doing the podcast on Thursdays, but I think it's fitting. Curated by this guy. It's got all of our reporting from the prior week and even leading up some into the current week of all the trends and game recaps and all the stuff we do sports related in that. And wherever you get your podcasts, whether it be the Queen City Podcast Network, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. Make sure to subscribe to us there and on YouTube, the Charlotte Post YouTube channel. Subscribe to Sports Charlotte. Hit the little bell. And you will get notified every time we come out with an episode. So, from everyone here, Ian.
Beautiful Dorina.
That's Herb. I'm Cam. Thanks for watching and listening.